helped me to reach 2,000 subscribers. I felt the first crack in my chest the night I heard her voice through his phone. A soft, trembling whisper, too intimate, too familiar, followed by my husband's quiet laugh. It was the kind of laugh he only made when he felt safe with someone. I stood in the hallway, my hand frozen on the light switch, listening to him say her name with a warmth I hadn't felt from him in months. He told me she was his sister in faith, a woman he guided spiritually, someone he helped to stay on the right path. But the way her voice reached him in the dark told me she wasn't just learning from him. She was being held by him, emotionally, spiritually, maybe even physically. My pulse throbbed like a warning drumbeat as I stepped into the bedroom just as he hung up. He looked at me with guilt swimming across his face, guilt he tried to mask with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. His phone lay screen down, as if hiding something vulnerable, precious, or dangerous. I asked him who it was. He said her name casually, as if it were harmless, as if it meant nothing, as if he hadn't been whispering back to her in the dark. For a moment, I believed him. I wanted to believe him. After 25 years of marriage, of sharing beds, battles, losses, children, and dreams, you don't want to think the person who has been your home has built another home somewhere else. But small things began to shift. He checked his phone more often, shielding the screen with his hand. He dressed with a kind of excitement, a quiet spark. He came home with a glow that didn't belong to me. The distance between us was subtle, the kind of distance only a woman noticing a threat can detect. The silence began to ache, stretching long between us. One evening, I found a message on his phone while he showered. I hadn't meant to look. I picked it up only to move it off the counter, but the screen lit and her name glowed. The message was short. 3 words. Simple. Innocent. If I didn't know what I knew. I miss you. My breath collapsed inside me. My knees hit the cold tile floor, as if the truth had weight and I couldn't bear it standing. The message wasn't flirtatious. It wasn't explicit. It was far worse. It was familiar. It was a kind of softness shared only between people who have already crossed boundaries. When he walked out of the bathroom, steam rolling behind him, he saw me on the floor with his phone in my hand. He froze. I saw something break in his eyes, something fragile and terrified. That fear alone told me the truth he hadn't spoken. He knelt in front of me, trying to take the phone, but I held it tighter. My voice didn't rise. I didn't scream. I simply asked him how long he'd loved her. He insisted it wasn't like that. He said he was helping her through loneliness. He said she needed him. He said he never meant to hurt me. Every word was a shot, cutting deeper. He didn't say he loved her, but he didn't say he didn't. And that silence felt like betrayal spilled open. I told him I felt invisible. I told him I felt replaced. His face crumpled, but not with the grief I expected. It was guilt, heavy, choking guilt, the kind that comes from knowing you cross a line you can't uncross. The next morning, I drove to the community center where she volunteered. I wanted to see the woman who had taken the space inside my husband's heart that had once belonged to me entirely. She was younger than me by at least 10 years. Her smile was gentle, her eyes soft. She greeted me with warmth that felt unnervingly genuine. I introduced myself. The way her face went pale told me she already knew who I was. We talked in a quiet corner. Her voice shook. She told me she never meant to come between us. She said he was the only person who made her feel valued. She said she didn't know how their conversations became so emotional. She said she didn't realize she was falling for him until it was too late. I left without anger. I left with clarity. Betrayal isn't always deliberate. Sometimes it grows in the dark when 2 people share wounds they should never share. That night, my husband and I sat at the table we once filled with laughter. The air felt fragile. He cried before I spoke. Real tears. Tears of regret, confusion, fear. He said he had been lost, that he liked feeling needed, that he missed a version of himself she reflected back at him. I told him I needed honesty more than apologies. He confessed he had feelings he didn't understand. He confessed he crossed emotional boundaries even if it never became physical. He confessed he didn't know how to repair what he had broken. But I knew something. I knew the woman I had been before this revelation could not simply return. I had been bruised by truth, reshaped by pain, and awakened by clarity. So I made a decision. A quiet, steady decision. I wasn't leaving him, and I wasn't staying the same. We agreed on counseling, boundaries, transparency, not because I trusted him, but because trust can only grow where truth is planted. As I lay in bed that night, I realized something powerful. I didn't need to forgive him yet. I didn't need to hate him either. I needed to rebuild myself first. And that was the beginning of our real reckoning.